What's up, YouTube? Infected Xenon here with a top three, third place deck profile. Samuel Nunez, say what's up.
Hey, what's up?
Anything you want to say before the deck profile?
No, Necros sucks.
Damn. Didn't you lose to Necros, man?
Well, it sucks as in I hate it, like I wouldn't run it even if I could afford it, which I can't, but
Alright, so let's get to the deck profile and explain your choices.
Yeah. 3 tour guide, you run it at 3 until it gets hit. 3 graph, which is, norm. 3 scarm, 3 serve, those are all basic. Let's see, 3 farfa. You could run it at 2, but I was running it at 3 just because, you can get rid of a lot of things like Unicore, or you can, if you send it to the grave, you can get rid of the Gin Lock or anything like that.
You liked it at 3?
Yeah, I think at 3 is fine, especially like, I think one play there was one time where I added it off Scarm, and I had a Phoenix Swing Blast face on. This guy had 2 Bryonax on the field, and he would have gotten rid of my Dantes, but standby, I send one to the top of the deck, and then I send the other off the field with Farfa, so I just got rid of his board with just, 1 card. 2 Libic, it's really good to make like maybe the extra Dante, or sometimes to get Bird Draw, or just anything. Sometimes if you mill it, it's good because you don't want to special summon the graph from hand to waste the effect. That way you can still get the effect off graph. 2 of the tuner. I'm only running 1 Virgil, so I didn't think 3 was necessary, and 2 is enough that you can get it from the grave or from the deck, whatever it hits.
You wouldn't play Kalkam and Alec or?
No, I tried those. It's not really. They're just not good right now, especially Calcav. A lot of people don't have back row, like Necros doesn't run any back row almost. So.
What about Mathematician?
I actually, in Fort Lauderdale, I tried the Mathematicians, and I just found a lot of the times I wasn't able to make a play off it. Like, ideally you want to send graph to hit Libic to hit something else so you can make a Dante, but a lot of the times it wasn't live. I just had the Mathematician there. I couldn't make a Dante off it.
Okay.
Alright, spells. 3 upstart for consistency. Anything like what this deck needs right now to even match up with Necros a little bit is just to be as consistent as possible. Like, you need to be making your turn 1, turn 2 plays. 3 mass change 2. This, Dark Law is broken. I know it's a little bit like, you have to discard, so that kind of sucks a bit, but at the same time, just if you can get it turn 1, that's gonna slow them down a lot. Or even if you can, a lot of times you can just chain to their search, and then they're gonna go minus off that, off their Senju or Preparation of Rites or anything like that. So on top of that, they're not gonna have the resources in the grave, so they can't recycle their spells or anything. So I mean, this is mostly for Necros, but it also hits other stuff, Cliff or Scout or any searching. So it's a great card. 1 Foolish Burial, just to get graph in the grave, special summon.
You would have made MST?
Right now, no, because right now it's still great against Clives, but you don't really have that much of an issue with them, even in game 1. So I took all 3 out, and I think that's what a lot of the Burning Abyss players are doing right now, taking them out and just replacing them for maybe more discard traps or just more back row in general.
And what about Rogue? You just don't care about playing versus Rogue?
Yeah, this deck is consistent enough that you're not going to have trouble that much. You're not going to... I mean, sure, Floodgates are strong, but you still have Fire Lakes, you still have a lot of outs to anything like that.
Okay.
Traps. 3 Vanity. Right now you have to run it at 3 until it gets hit. Pretty much against Necros. I mean, against Clives is not that great, obviously, and you side them out, but against anything Necros, which is almost the huge portion of the meta right now.
How many did you play at the ARG?
In 9 rounds of Swiss, I ended up playing 7 Necros. So it was a ridiculous number, and I managed to win against, I think, 5 of them. I lost 1, and I got a draw with another one.
And you played 3 in the top?
Yeah, I was the only Burning Abyss in top. So yeah, 3 beat the first 2, obviously lost it 3rd. 3 Mind Crush, which is also a really great card this format. It's great against
everything.
Everything. Even Burning of a Mirror Match. I didn't get to play any of those, but it's great against anything. It'll hit any of the searches. For claws, you can just get rid of their sacrifice, or if they're searching with anything they search with the scout. Really, for the Necross, you want to try to hit the monster they're gonna summon. Like, let's say you see they're going for a Trish to play and they do Necross Mirror. At that point, you want to chain it and call Trish, and then it either fizzles if they don't have any other targets in hand they can summon, or they're going to have to summon something that they don't want to summon at that point. Or if they're doing Kaleidoscope to get the Unicorn out on board, call the Unicorn, and then they're not going to get the Herald of Arclight in the grave, and they're not going to have any of the effects because it's going to fizzle.
Pro plays.
In total, I'm running 5 discard traps. You could run 5 to 6. I think that's a good number. 2 Phoenix Wing. I cut it down. I had it at 3, but a lot of times you don't want them. Like, let's say they summon a Bryonac. You don't want to have them draw a Bryonac next turn because they're going to get a search off that. So I replaced them for a few more destruction effects like Raigeki Break. Raigeki Break is also, you can use it in place of the MSTs. You could destroy any of the scales or any back row that you don't want them to get back to the deck or anything like that. 2 Firelight. I don't think you can run more than 2. It gets cloggy. And, you can always recycle it with Dante. So against Rogue or against Clyde, still comes in handy a lot. And against Necross, it's alright. It's not, 100% live, but still, it's still useful. And 2 is a good number. 1 Karma Cut just for the 5th discard trap. You could change it to more Raigeki Break, more Phoenix, whatever. I feel like Karma Cut is really good to get rid of their Necross monsters in the grave. Like, if they're gonna have to recycle one of their spells, they need to banish the monster, or if they're using Valkyrius, they need monsters in grave. So if you get rid of some of those, you're gonna hinder them. And then 1 Breakthrough in the main. I don't know how I felt about this. I felt against some decks it's not that great, but I think I'm going to keep it there just because if you mill it, it's really good just because, you can stop the Unicorn or you can stop the Clausulus or anything like that if you mill it. And if not, you can still stop like a Bryonac or a Trish or any effects like that. So it's still good at 1, I'd say. And that's the main deck.
40 cards, right?
Yeah, 40.
You wouldn't change anything about the deck going into the next event?
No, I think it's pretty solid. I mean, you could change the traps a little bit, but monsters and everything else, you might, traps is preference, but I wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
Triple Dante, that's...
Why is that?
Self-explainable. It's the best card on deck, recycles, mills, whole package. 1 Virgil. Some people are actually running none. Some people are running 2. I think you still need 1 just because it's really good. If like a lot of the times against, let's say, Clydes, I can OTK them because they just leave the monster with sacrifice on board. You send back the sacrifice.
The monster.
And
that's what you meant. Because you put the monster back, they don't care what they search if you're gonna win in that turn anyway.
Yeah. Either or. Or if I don't think I can OTK that turn, I'll send back something else. But simply just to get rid of it so it can actually be attacked over and it'll die, and then you have 2 other Dantes or 2 Dantes and something else, and that usually gets you game. Or just sometimes to send back troublesome monsters, like let's say something I can't get over with the 2500, maybe like a Trish or Valkyrius or anything like that. So simply I don't have to go into Acid Golem every time to get rid of stuff like that. So I think at 1 is fine. Triple Downward, I think you need 3 right now, just because a lot of the games are really grindy with Necross. Like, it's really back and forth, and a lot of their monsters can't get over the 2500 defense, so they need like one of their bigger boss monsters. So you can sit on Dante for a bit, but it's not going to help you out. You need Downward. Also, just putting the Downward over will guarantee you get the Dante effect just in case they try to banish or anything like that. So 3 I think is necessary. 1 Zen mains, you know, for anything, sometimes you're running out of Dantes and you don't really have anything else, or you can't get over a card, or there's like a floodgate out that you need to get rid of. So you get Zen mains out, pop a card, and let's see, Fortune Tune. I only went into Fortune Tune once, but it didn't win me the game. It was like a last minute thing, but basically a lot of these games, if your opponent doesn't know the deck very well, they're gonna be searching, like they'll take really long with their searches and with their plays, because Necros is kind of like a, you know, big complex deck, so there are a lot of options they can do, so think about it. I mean, you know, not to say they're slow playing intentionally or anything like that, it'll just take long, and a lot of them will go into time. So in time, if it's really close, you just bring that out, and you know that could help make the difference, or sometimes there might be a better play, but it's an option to have.
They could just dredge it though, that's any problem.
Yeah, that's, I mean, obviously it's not perfect, but it's a good thing, because it'll be something they can't exactly get over if they don't have an effect, and they can't, like, let's say Bryanak or anything else. Like Trish would be obviously not, but like it might be better than a Dante in certain situations. Equipped Engineer, I actually kind of want to run 2, because a lot of times I would need a second one, but basically it gets rid of Valkyrius. So let's say you have like, they're at 5k, or you know, let's say 4k life points. If you're able to have a board, and then the third monster or fourth monster is the engineer, just they're gonna have to stop one of the attacks, and whichever one they stop, you'll just chain, and then that's gonna change it to defense. It's gonna cancel the attack. All your other attacks will still go through. So this is definitely good to get over the Valkyrius in hand. I don't know I think 1 is fine, but you could run 2. I might test it at 2 just to see, because a lot of times I wish I had a second one in there, but I'll see. Double Acid Golem, I did go into 2 a few times, like I needed a second one. A lot of the monsters in here, you can kind of, they're not stronger than 25, so basically you need something a little higher to get over some cards. Like let's say they have like a Trish in hand or something, so you can't, you know, get rid of it with effects or anything, so you need to run it over. So basically just Acid Golem, and what you can do, you can get rid of the Acid Golem by a couple of ways, like later on, or sometimes you can sit on it for a little bit and they're gonna have to get over it either way. 1 Nightmare Shark, just for situations where, you know, you can go for game with a Nightmare Shark. And then the 2 Dark Claws, which, you know, as I said with the mass change, it's just one of the best cards. I wish it was a little higher in attack. That would probably help a bit. But it's, you know, it's macro for your opponent. It's -1 if they search. You could also, it's great because it's not only add to deck to hand. It's also, like, it'll be also used for, let's say, Max C. The effect will still go off, so if they chain Max C to your special and you bring him out, you can still use it on your turn. It's either turn, 1's a turn, so that's pretty useful. And then side deck. Yep, side deck. 2 spell cancelers. I'm thinking of maybe upping it to 3, just because if you get this turn 1, there's only like, well, 3 outs, but like they're kind of complicated. Just to get over it, you either they need to have sided in or main side blocker and call it the hands. And for side blocker, you can usually get rid of it with one of your traps anyway, so that's not a big deal. Alternatively, they could have Dance Princess and then Decisive Armor, but the chances of them like just going, like, it'd be really hard for them to get rid of this turn 1. So usually by the time you get this out, turn 2, you can usually bring equipped engineer out to protect it, and yeah, basically after that they're gonna scoop more or less. It's really hard to get over. Triple mistake.
Was it a mistake that you ran it, or
No, it's a great card. Obviously you have Scarm that searches, but what you do, you have to cut it down to 2 when you sight on the mistakes.
take out a Scarm?
Yeah, I take out like 1, sometimes 2 Scarm depending. And that's fine, because I'd rather them be losing all their searches than me, just losing 1 search. It's way better to lose just the 1 search than them getting a lot of searches off. Pretty much not every card, but a big percentage of the cards search for Necros. It's also good against Clydes. It stops their scout or their sacrifice. So it's just a really good sidecar in general, even though you are losing the Scarm search. But I think it's still worth running. Another downside is obviously it's a trap, so you can't special summon from hand anymore. But usually, if you have this, the benefit of running it is gonna outweigh the downside. Yeah, the cons of running it. So I think it's at 3, it's a good number. I wouldn't run it at less. 2 Bailers, I don't know if they help me that much. They're okay, but I think I might have to change it up for something else. They did hit, obviously if you can hit like a Trish play or anything like that, it's gonna come in handy, but a lot of the times they'll just be like dead in hand if they're not making any big play. Like you never wanna like stop their like Senju or Manju with this. You wanna keep it for
for big plays.
Big plays. A lot of people, they'll run in, they'll do it in the first thing that comes out. You don't want to do that. You want to try to keep it, but a lot of times it's just kind of like you don't want to top deck into this. That's why I didn't really like it sometimes, but I'll say. 3 MSTs for the Clyde, basically for you could for any rogue that has a lot of back row, like let's say you Use, if you're getting defissured and macroed and you don't have outs, you want to sight these in for game 2 and 3. 2 Mirror Force for mostly you just in case, but also you could bring it in for Necros, and a lot of times like they'll have to, like if they get hit once, they're for the remainder of the duel they're gonna play around it because they know you're gonna sight it, you have it sighted in, or sometimes like they won't think you have Mirror Force sighted in against them, so it'll hurt them a lot and they'll lose a lot of monsters just because they didn't expect it. And triple Fairy Wind, again for Clydes or anything with a lot of floodgates, back row. Just since I'm not maining the MSCs, I usually sight in 3 MSCs, 3 Fairy Winds, and that's usually enough for the Clyde matchup. If sometimes might sight in mistakes, depending. And so,
congrats on the top, man. Hope to see you in more videos, man.
Thanks.